Don't look now, but Illini football might have yet another starter returning to next year's team. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to a short abbreviated version of Locked On Illini. Today's episode is brought to you by the 2025 Nissan Armada. My name is Sunny Verma, your host here on Locked On Illini. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to set the mood a little different today. I know a lot of Illini fans are a little upset, understandably, over the beatdown that they got from the Maryland Terrapins on Friday, knocking them out of the Big Ten tournament. But we have a couple days to relax, maybe 5 or 6 days until the actual NCAA tournament starts. So I wanted to kind of shift the focus a little bit and talk about some big news potentially happening on the football side. So Illinois had its pro day this past Thursday, where, if you're not familiar, basically scouts from all over the NFL come in to Champaign and Illinois. Some of the players that maybe weren't invited to NFL camp or the draft camp they're basically able to showcase themselves in front of said scouts. They're able to do certain workouts that they weren't able to participate in, et cetera, et cetera. There is one particular standout from this pro day, but I'll get to him in a little bit. What I actually wanted to start off was talking about a surprise announcement that we kind of got. That a question was asked to Bret Bielema during this press conference. Bret kind of volunteered to disclose some information in regards to Terah Edwards, who was participating in the pro day camp. But it turns out Illinois, Bret Bielema, and Terah have also submitted a request for a waiver for him to return to the Illini next season. Now, having a nose tackle like Terah Edwards come back to add to all the defensive line depth that we've already gotten over this offseason would be huge. So what's the basis behind this reasoning? Or what's the reasoning behind this basis for this waiver request? Edwards redshirted in 2020. And in 2021, he played in just 3 games, at least according to the Northwestern website, the official website. So Bret actually took him in thinking that he had only played 3 games in that particular year. It turns out after the fact, they changed it to 5 games. And how the reasoning behind that is, I don't know. But Bret essentially called it a bookkeeping error. And he feels like the reasoning behind this request is to plead with the NCAA that it's not his fault. His being Edwards. The student should not be punished for what ends up being a bookkeeping error. So they're filing for this. They haven't heard back, obviously. And, maybe a sign that he's practicing for this pro day could be that they don't exactly feel super confident about Terah eventually coming back. But, it's enough so that they feel like, hey, let's go down this route. Big ups to Edwards for essentially just having to split the attention of his focus, right? He's got to worry about coming out with the right numbers and workouts for this NFL Pro Day, but also with the possibility that he might be coming back to the Illini next season. Apparently, the process started in December, and he knew and he was okay with it. It's one of those where if he has a chance to come back, he understands that, hey, another year being coached under Bret Bielema is not going to hurt. In fact, it's probably going to help. And this Illinois football team, I just mentioned all the depth that they've already gotten in the defensive line. Coming into this year, adding, again, a starter back to next year's team. So that would be, 19 starters on next year's team returning, 19 bowl starters at least. It would be a huge win. Terah played in 38 games in 3 years, and he was an all Big Ten honorable mention last year, 38 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. To get Edwards' perspective on this, this is what he had to say. What I think I can gain from an extra year at Illinois is knowledge from Coach B. The football knowledge never stops. I've been here for 3 years, and Coach B always finds a way to amaze my mind when it comes to football 101 and understanding football as a person. I think that and being another year in Coach Tank's program, not only how I've been able to take these 2 or 3 months with no school and focus on my body and training at a high level, I think another year in Coach Tank's program would help me and benefit me so much. Also, the family feeling and being around the camaraderie. You never take that for granted. Once it's gone, you always talk about it. With how many guys are coming back on this team and the potential and the type of work ethic on this team, they got a chance. Being a part of that, I would love that. And that's always been a dream of mine. That's always a dream of everybody's. You want to play winning football. Coming off a 10-3 season, that's in the past. If you can build off of it, it's big. What they have coming back, the new additions, and the mindset of that locker room, I have a lot of faith in them right now. Now, if you're a football fan and if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. I know we're in the up and down season when it comes to basketball. It's been an absolutely roller coaster ride. Next year's football team is kind of the opposite version with so many returning players, the opposite of basketball replacing 10 guys from last year's roster. Last year's team won 10 games and has the potential, quite honestly, to win more if things go correctly, especially with the returning senior quarterback in Luke Altmaier. And again, as I mentioned, 16 starters from last year's team, 18 of those starters from the bowl game, all returning to next year's team. It's one of those where if Edwards is also approved, again, I'm not very optimistic about it. I don't think the team itself is very optimistic about it, but you just kind of never know nowadays, right? With the NCAA, they're realizing that the power that they have is slowly slipping away each and every day. So at this point, they may go ahead and approve it just because they don't want another potential court battle down the line. As for the pro day itself, Edwards did run a 40-yard dash in 5.1 seconds. He had 29 reps of 225 on the bench press and a vertical leap of 25.5 inches. That 40-yard time that I just mentioned would have tied for 17th, and his bench press would have been tied for the most had he been invited to the combine. So again, very impressive numbers by Edwards. It's one of those situations where we're all just kind of in wait and see mode. Let's just find out what happens. But if Edwards is able to come back, I think it's going to be huge for this Illini football team. I think I'm already very optimistic. And I've got, I can't wait. Obviously there's going to be no spring game, but I'm eating up all the spring notes that are slowly trickling out. And all those notes I will be relaying to you guys. Whenever I am allowed to say something, I absolutely will, because that's what I do for you guys. Each and every day I try to produce Illinois content for you, even on the weekends, such as today. So if you appreciate that, make sure you've hit that like button on this video already. Make sure you're subscribed. And right after this, I'm going to talk about another, it's Saturday. Let's talk feel-good stories. I love college sports because I love the feel-good stories aspect that it can provide. And there's one potentially happening in Champaign. Ryan Mead played in 10 defensive snaps in, get this, his first 5 seasons playing for the Illini. A lot of the time that he got on the field was mainly on the special team side, which, I'll get to in a little bit, is probably where his future lies in the NFL as well. But Ryan was able to participate in Pro Day, and he had a very, very promising showing. He ran the 40-yard dash in 4.51 seconds, which would have been third among the linebackers if he had gone to the NFL Combine. He recorded a 37.5-inch vertical jump, which would have been sixth among linebackers at the Combine. A 9'9" broad jump, which would have been 11th, and a 7.35 second 3 cone, and 25 reps of 225 pounds on the bench press, which both would have been third at the Combine. Very impressive numbers for Ryan. And he's just one of those where he's so appreciative of it. As fans, seeing someone grow into the role that he eventually did last season, he was starting games. And, he had the big play in the bowl game. Ryan's not taking any of this for granted. His words: I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. First of all, to just come out here and compete with my brothers one more time and just basically just worship God just through my performance today. So I'm super humble, super thankful, man. You know me, I love this university, bits and pieces. So it was beautiful to be back out here in orange and blue one last time and just go performing. Just so much gratitude, man. Even the fact that I'm here right now. I used to dream about this. I used to pray for this. I'm just so grateful to be here, to be in front of you guys, to be talking to you guys. And yeah, I'm so humbled, so grateful from a fan base that believed in me, that kept trusting in me. and just kept rooting for me. Leaving on a Citrus Bowl win, you can't write a better story. When they asked Bret Bielema about it, Bret Bielema actually brought a familiar name to Illini fans in comparing Mead, and that was Jake Hansen. He said that Jake Hansen had better stats going into the NFL, but a lot of the traits that he has are shared by Mead. And Jake Hansen just became rich, signing another, I believe it was a $2+ million contract with the Houston Texans. And, Bret truly does believe that, hey, I think the quote that he gave was, I told all 30 teams that Ryan's going to test better than you probably predicted. But even more than that is what he's just this really smart, high IQ football player. And that's what he can provide. He can play backup to multiple positions at the NFL level. And as I mentioned earlier, just be a really overperforming special teams player. If nothing else, hearing the coach quote from Terah and Ryan Mead earlier today, just about what their feelings are about the football program, that's got to be music to our ears, us as fans, as analysts, people who follow this football program. We're in a really good place, guys. We're talking about starters wanting to come back to play football at the college level in place of going to the next level, playing at the NFL. You're talking about guys who know they don't have any time left in Champaign, but just can't help themselves to keep saying the word of how grateful that they are that they were here in this program, learning and developing. Football season's still a few months away. Again, it's spring season right now, so it's nice. I'll be relaying as much details as I can, but between basketball, between football, if you are a fan of the athletics, if you're younger, trust me, cherish this right now. If you're an older fan like myself, then you know that we are living in times, really, really good times. And that's why I don't take it for granted. That's why I don't get as down as some people do after certain losses. And I try to keep an optimistic perspective and outlook on things. It's absolutely a good time to be an Illini fan. Make sure on your way out, you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all of you. Again, Sunday, we're going to get the official brackets out. Where is Illinois going to be seated? Let's take a look at some matchups. Maybe we'll do a live episode Sunday night, but either way, we'll be talking about it all week long right here on Locked On Illini. It's going to be a big week. I always appreciate your guys' support. Find me on your favorite social media, either at TheSunnyV or Locked On Illini. Send me a message. Say something nice. Say something not so nice. Just keep it constructive. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.